Believe me, this is not a fun job, and it takes a tremendous amount of work at no pay. Thank you.
My name is Bill Andrew. I'm in East Hillside. The last tax appraisal appraised the building of the River Club at $347,700. We're talking about building a building that will have an approximately fair market value of $1 million, 3 times its current value. I also have a question concerning the termite damage. If there was termite damage, would not the exterminator who was on bond be liable to make the payment for the repairs that could help ameliorate the insurance payment? And basically, I'd like to know answers to those 2 questions. Are you really considering increasing the property value 3 times, which would also mean probably at least a 2.5 times increase in the taxes? And also, how did this termite damage get so far out of control without any supervision?
I can answer. Hello? Is it on now? Okay. I can answer the first question. I can tell you that the answer to your question is yes, but to further that, the numbers that you saw included taxes and insurance. So if you look at option A, B, whatever, it doesn't matter. You didn't see it there because it's in the detail. I welcome anybody to, the detail is, we have a gigantic thick book. It's actually over there, but it'll be in Christie's office Monday, I suppose. Oh, that's a copy. Okay, it's already in Christie's office. So to answer your question, the dollars that you saw there for operating costs include the estimated tax burden increase or adjustment. I don't have a clue, sir, about the termite damage. That was before my time. Your question about the bond is valid. I think we can look into that. It was probably occurred when it wasn't under Martin's Landing management. So it's a worthwhile question. We'll look into it.
I had 2 follow-up questions and a comment. The first was, how many non-residents belong to the club, and what is their cost of membership? And is there a thought of raising their annual membership to help pay for the new clubhouse? And the second was, we heard about the insurance and that they made an offer, and can we be given some figures about how much the insurance company has offered and what we think a fair value is? And then I wanted to thank the committee for providing this information, particularly the information that Gabe provided. I lived here 23 years, and I think I've been at the club once. The thought that it could be a true, living, functioning club that can bring community members together is something I hadn't thought about. I thought it was only for those that play tennis and use a swimming pool. In fact, I had never seen the swimming pool until a few years ago when I went to the Six Branches swimming pool, and it was closed whatever day of the week that was. So I went to the other one with my grandchild, and that was the first time. So I think we have a lot to think about. But I want to make sure that those who don't live in Martin's Landing share the cost. So those 2 questions.
Well, to answer your first question, I believe the approximate cost of an outside membership was around $500 per family. Is it different? But the
I'm Bill Nelms, and I'm the chairman of the River Club, the recreation chairman. There's 77 outside members, and they actually don't use the clubhouse or the pool. They're tennis members, and they pay approximately $1,000, $800 for a single person, and $1,000 for a family. There is a pool only. Last year there were about 30 some odd members at $500. 550 last year. Yes, absolutely. We're in a competitive marketplace. These members can go anywhere they want to.
Well, and part of that $550 membership, and it does include some families who use the pool. I know that personally. But that's all part of the $80,000 cost that was the total income for the River Club that was pointed out earlier. Now,
The second, third, I wasn't keeping exact count. The question about the insurance. The exact figure I'm not going to get exactly right, but I think it was about $60,000 the insurance company offered us for that structure. It's obscene. It's not even close to right. We've had now this isn't really under the purview of this committee, but we've been meeting with Richard a good bit about it. A separate estimator, not the one that was helping us, a separate construction cost estimator put a number together. Help me out. Yeah, 480,000 is what independently we think it's worth. They need to pay us in order to replace it. You can see that's a gigantic gap, and which is why it's probably going to be a protracted process of getting to a number. Her questions were, how many outside members are there? We decided there's 77 tennis memberships at $1,000 a pop. How much do they pay? I just answered that. Pool-only memberships, there's approximately 30. They pay $550. She wanted to know if we were going to raise rates to accommodate. It's not really this committee's decision, quite frankly. That's the River Club committee or the board. And then the other question was, how much has the insurance company offered us? And that's the question that I answered.
Hi. I also want to thank you all. I know this is a lot of hard work, and I know it's hard being up there and getting yelled at. But I do have two quick questions. First of all, I think you said that if things go well, that the soonest we would open the clubhouse is next September. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it possible if the bathrooms were done on the lower level that we could open the pool prior to the second story being built? Is that possible for next summer?
Yes, it's possible.
Is it?
Here's the concern. We've talked about this a good deal, and some of this has to do more with the pool committee than it does us. But depending on when construction starts, that's really kind of the key here. If it started like I'm projecting there, probably by the time it's time for the pool to open in, was that late May, I guess we open it up? Mid-May? You could have the structure up, you could have the skin on. Primarily, you would have to dictate that all the site work has been done. You can do that with the contractor, tell them they have to sequence it a certain way in order for it to be usable. So it's a safety concern, quite frankly. We don't want construction going on, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Nails all over the ground, just to use an example, that and pool goers.
Okay.
So it's something we've thought about and we want to try to do, but it really depends on when we get started, honestly.
Okay. And one other unrelated,
Let me make a point to the
Sure.
schedule too, because I've had some folks come up and say, what the hell's going on? Nothing's going on. Everybody needs to understand that we have been moving forward as best possible until DRB approval. We've been moving forward as best anyone could, just because of the government mainly, all the complicated things to deal with. But we are now at a standstill. We have been moving forward, but now we are at a standstill. So it's there has been progress, believe it or not. It's been a year, but there's been a lot of progress. But now we have stopped.
and why have you stopped? You're waiting for this?
We need,
to
yeah,
happen?
well,
Okay.
we're waiting to have this, and we need the board to tell us what to do next.
Okay. And the other question is, and it partly is, we couldn't see the slides very well in the back. You talked a lot about the finances pretty much around A, the lowest one, and where the money would come from and assessments. Is there information either in those slides that we can get online or somewhere that tell us that same financials from our pockets for B and C.
Yeah, it's actually
was
there. It'll be on the website. The information is up here. You can see my shadow hand here. There's B, there's C. But that information's also on the website. Okay.
It's on the website.
It's also in Christie's office on paper.
I have one question and a comment. The question is, when will the survey results be made available to the MLF residents? Number one. Number two, it's just a comment, and that is that it seems to me that filling out this survey is really not sufficient for the people here. You have to express your desires and ideas on this subject to your neighborhood HOA, and then hopefully a consensus can be drawn to give your HOA delegate to MLF some direction, because ultimately the decision is not going to be made by individuals. They're going to be made by your representative to the MLF board.
Well, to answer the question about the survey, obviously we want everyone to turn in the survey after they fill it out before they leave. That's our preference. After this meeting, the survey will be available on the website for everyone else in Martin's Landing who did not attend today. Also, there will be a stack of them at Christie's office if you want to drop by and pick up a hard copy. And these results from the survey will be tabulated over the next few weeks. Everyone in Martin's Landing has a deadline of September 1st to get their surveys back in. And that information, I'm sure, could be made available, at least for privacy reasons, at least share the numbers based on the questions and the answers. And that information will be given directly to the board of directors. All right, so the board of directors will have that information independent from everything else that we've published. So your point is valid. Make sure everyone talks to your directors. And it's really the second time we're kind of going through this. Make sure they understand, because they will have the final vote on this project.
The last statement you just made is what my question has to do with the voting. The residents of Martin's Landing are going to pay for whichever plan is chosen. My question is, why is the board voting on what plan to select instead of the residents who are going to pay for whatever plan is chosen? That
Bob,
I
you
do
wanna
not
cover that?
understand.
The fact is, we're not a pure democracy. We are a republic, just like our country. You elect people to the board who represent you. That's the way it works. That's the way our covenants are.
Yeah, but we have to take what you say. Well, we don't know what our representatives are going to tell the board. Is that information going to be available to us as to how our representative passed this information on to you as to how their particular residents are
I
concerned?
don't personally have a problem with that. We can have a roll call vote and have everybody vote. Yeah, that's fine.
A vote for for all the residents?
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
why
fine.
two
all
plan-
of that stuff is going to be on the website or in the minutes of that meeting anyway.
Why can't two options be put to the voters of Martin's Landing and them vote on the two options instead of the board having the final say? That's all I'm concerned with.
Well, I think one thing is just the logistics of that. We had a vote for the covenants renewal and for the change in the covenants.
Please,
And it took us a year and a half.
Don't get me started on covenants, because
We don't need to. Let's move on.
I don't want to get started on covenants.
Can you state your name and the neighborhood you're from as well, so we can?
I'm Leroy Gall, and I'm with Martin's Landing. I live on Waterbrook Terrace,
Which
and that's
neighborhood?
North Pond.
North Pond. Thank you very much
Correct.
for your comments.
One second. Your directors are here, I believe. You know Frank Padula and
Yes,
Joe
I've
Ford.
talked to Frank a number
They're
of
the
times.
ones- They would be the ones that you tell how to vote, and the ones that
But do I know what results they're going to turn into the board so that the board makes their voting?
You have to.
they will tell you how they're going to vote. You ask them how they're going to vote, and they tell you. They're the individuals. They vote at the board.
Well,
Yeah,
still,
let's-
that doesn't
let's-
mean that's how the board's going to go.
Let's move. Just to make sure everyone understands, you have to talk to your directors. So communication.